Quiz Lady is like eating a stack of white bread like this big, with no flavoring, no toppings, no condiments, nothing. Watching this movie was like eating a bunch of white bread. It's not necessarily bad for you, right? It's not whole grain. There's no flavor to it. You know, it tastes just bland and fine. It's not gonna kill you, but there's nothing exciting about it. That is the best analogy I have for watching this movie. There's nothing inherently wrong with this movie, but there's nothing inherently right with it either. And talking about movies like this, I think, is the most unenjoyable part of having a YouTube channel, to be honest. So let's talk about it. And also, to add to that analogy, there's no nutritional value either. So like I say in every video, does it suck or is it worth a watch? Even though I have that analogy, does it fit with your guys' needs for movie night next Friday night with that hot date of yours? Hey guys, my name is Brandon, aka the BrandoCritic. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today. I really do appreciate it. And on this channel, I just want to cut through all the toxic fandom and the noise and the BS and the politics and agenda, and just tell you guys honestly my opinion of the movie. So if that interests you, then definitely hit like and subscribe. But I also want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comment section down below. Have you guys seen Quiz Lady, and what are your thoughts? And I'll be honest guys, I hope you guys are doing something more effective with your time than just watching movies like this. I don't hate this movie. I know it sounds like I do, but again, just let's get into it. But before we do that, I do have to talk about my sponsor, Into the AM. They actually just sent me this new shirt in the mail. You guys can also see the back too, hopefully. You know, it's kind of like it's like a bunch of books with a tree and that kind of stuff. Actually, I asked for something else, but they didn't have it, so they sent me that one instead. And pleasant surprise. They fit well, they're comfortable, lots of cool designs. Link down below, and you can also get a discount. But anyways, let's get started. Jessica Yu is our director, and she has done mostly television, like 13 Reasons Why and Billions. And it stars Awkwafina, Sandra Oh, and Will Ferrell as the three main actors in this movie. And the story is that Awkwafina is this shy, awkward, kind of this hermit. She doesn't talk to anybody. All she does is watch this quiz show hosted by Will Ferrell, and she's very good at it. It's like Jeopardy! And through a bunch of wacky hijinks, she ends up becoming a part of this show because her sister, Sandra Oh, this hot mess of a sister, basically gets her onto this show. And the reason why? Well, let's just say she has to pay off some ransom money for her dog. Like, and I'm thinking about that, who makes up this premise? Someone is really good at Jeopardy, and you have ransom money for a dog. Like, are we really scraping the bottom of the barrel here when it comes to creativity for this script? Like, are we finally here with AI? Like, is AI finally writing this stuff? I know that it even says that, you know, that there are writers in this movie, but I don't know. You could fool me, right? But anyways, this movie is harmless, really. I mean, I'm talking about it how it's like, you know, a terrible thing. It's not. I promise it's not. It's harmless. There's nothing really wrong with this movie, and you can point to some elements that are just not good. But, you know, the movie's heart is in the right place, and it does end on a fairly high note. But it's a messy movie. It's not a really strong, structured piece of art. You know what I mean? It did kind of win me over by the end. Like, I was smiling at some parts at the end. I'm like, oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cute. You know what? I'm not like cringing, and I'm not talking about how, you know, this movie is just evil incarnate, right? Presents itself as a comedy, but the comedy feels very forced and very inconsistent, very wobbly. And when the movie started, you know, when you guys watch YouTube videos, like sometimes when people have ADHD or some people just want to get the video over with or just suck in as much information as possible, they'll watch a YouTube video at like 1.5 or 2 times speed. Honest to God, I was looking at the bottom of my video player just to see if I was watching the movie at like 2 times speed, because it felt like the jokes and the scenes and the pacing of the movie was just go, 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 go. And I'm like, hold on a minute. Like, there's no breathing room at all. It's just like, go, 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 go. And it feels like the director was like, okay, we got to have this movie to be like really fast editing. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this movie is definitely trying to appeal to the TikTok crowd. Again, every time I talk about how a movie is too long, like Killers of the Flower Moon, for instance, I talk about how that movie is way too long. Everyone's like, oh, you TikTok generation, TikTok generation, TikTok generation. Keep watching your TikTok, your Marvel movies. It's like the insult nowadays when someone complains about something being too long. This is the movie that those people, those TikTok crowd people, I think would enjoy, because it is just constantly giving you information, constantly giving you jokes, constantly giving you content. And it's just like a baby just having its mouth forced open and just shoving the food in there. It's like, the airplane's going in and you know what I mean? Just it was bizarre. It was really bizarre to me. And the types of jokes in this movie felt wildly inconsistent. Some of the jokes were very juvenile, like there's a dog fart joke in the movie, and I'm going, are we really going that low? Are we going for a dog fart joke? And again, like the movie Strays came out not too long ago, and I thought that movie was really, really funny, even though, again, a lot of those jokes are juvenile, but that's the type of movie that it is. This movie wasn't really like that. This movie did not have a comedic identity. We were having fart jokes. We were having just really odd and strange and weird humor. Like, for example, when Awkwafina gets viral because she's very good at guessing all of the answers in this quiz game, and she's just, answering them at home very quickly, she becomes the viral quiz lady, right? Then one of her coworkers is like, hey, like you should say hi to my followers. And it's like, hey, we're here with quiz lady. And like, he, just doesn't leave. He just keeps on like wandering around her. And even though she's like, you should leave. No, I want to sit right here. I don't want to move. I want to stand. And it's like, is this supposed to be funny? Is this supposed to be, be comedic, be amusing? It's so weird. It's so weird. And of course you get your classic slapstick humor, right? Like Sandra Oh gets hit by a car, out of nowhere, and she's like screaming at him, right? She pulls the racism card a couple times on people, and like some of those jokes, did land. I will admit some of the jokes did make me chuckle a few times, but not enough for me to go like, you guys gotta see this movie. It's hilarious. This movie's not hilarious. There's like maybe a few jokes that made me laugh, and that's it. But they weren't like laughing out loud. They were like, like that's not very good for a comedy movie. I'm sorry. And again, comedy is subjective. People could watch this movie. I'm going to say simpletons, no offense, but simpletons might watch this movie and find it funny. That's my honest opinion. And if that's you, then great. But again, just odd choices. Like this is the perfect example about how weird the writing is for this movie. So, of course, Awkwafina and Sandra Oh are sisters. And there was this moment in their childhood that kind of tore them apart and is the reason why they become, friends again, and they kind of patch up their relationship. But the incident is that they're both hanging out at their rich cousin's house when they're kids. So of course Sandra Oh is like the popular one, she's the hot one, she has all the nice clothes, and she's very trendy, right? She's very popular. And then of course you have Awkwafina, the awkward, shy little kid. Like she must have been 8 when the other girls were like 17, right? And she's so nervous that she digs a hole in the backyard and poops in it and buries it. I can't believe I had to say that out loud. And I'm just like, what is going on here? It's like played as this like emotional moment, how she was nervous and she couldn't go to the bathroom. And I'm like, do you not hear yourselves? And it's not played for laughs. Like, is this like a whole spoof? Is this like a satire? I really don't think so. They played it too straight. That's where this movie lost me. I'm like, this movie doesn't know what it is. This movie does not have a clear vision. Most of the jokes, I feel, are very PG. It's like this movie is coming straight to Hulu in the States, Disney Plus in Canada, and other international markets. We are the international market to you Americans out there. And I'm thinking to myself, like, just, okay, this movie has PG level humor, but then Sandra Oh will have some F-bombs out of nowhere, and like they're really hard F-bombs, and I'm like, this doesn't fit. It's just so weird. It's just very weird. Why is this movie somewhat watchable? Sandra Oh and Awkwafina do have good chemistry together. They are likable actors, and we like their characters in this movie. We want to see these sisters bond. And I think that's more about the performances rather than the writing. And even with Sandra Oh's character, she reminded me of Mike Myers in The Cat in the Hat, where, he's not really that funny and he just feels restrained. I know that in that movie he feels restrained because he's wearing a costume, like a really stiff costume. And you think about something like Jim Carrey in The Grinch, with his costume being very animated and very lively and over the top. And I feel like with Sandra Oh, I mean, she's wearing sort of a costume. She's wearing this like neon. She's wearing a lot of colors in her hair. She's kind of like the hot mess older sister. She's still dressing like she did when she was 18, right? And when she's in her late 40s, early 50s, or however old she is. It just feels like, yeah, she's like the rest of the humor. She's trying too hard. And I feel like this movie, kind of has shackles on her and she's not able to let loose, right? Like if this movie was just really off the rails, she could be swearing, she could be using a lot more gross out humor, but it feels reserved because it's like a PG type of thing. Again, this movie has no vision. Awkwafina is Awkwafina, and she's great. Honestly, every single role I've ever seen her portray, she's been good. Raya and the Last Dragon, Little Mermaid, Renfield, I thought she was great in. Even that, crappy Jumanji sequel, I thought she was really good in that as well. So everything that I've seen her in, she's been good in. And she's good in this movie too. Like, she is more of the straight man, right, in the comedy duo. Whereas Sandra Oh is definitely the more eccentric one. And, she does her best. But again, you feel like there's a lot more for these characters and for this humor to really provide. Will Ferrell is in the movie, and he plays a very PC, very milquetoast kind of guy. Like, hello, welcome to the quiz show. It's great to have you here. This Walt Disney, Mr. Rogers-like game show host, and it's kind of endearing. I will admit, seeing Will Ferrell, like, again, you've seen him in Step Brothers, you've seen him in Talladega Nights. That guy can just go off the rails with his raunchiness, his vulgarity. Is that a word? Screw it, we're leaving that in. But he's super clean. And you would think that Elf, his character in Elf, he's very clean and he's very naive and he's very childlike. Oh my God, you haven't seen anything yet. This guy is, like Walt Disney and Mr. Rogers and Mr. Dress Up, right? For you international market folks. Yeah, he's very endearing to see. And like, that's about it, really. That's all I really have to say for this movie. Again, it's not terrible. It just feels very lost, and it feels very rushed, and it feels messy. But again, the heart is in the right place, right? It's just the outer layer of it is just kind of a hodgepodge of randomness. And again, like this movie's nothing special. It's movies like this where I'm like, you know what? I just want to watch something old on VHS, something with some personality. That's what this movie lacked. Personality. And it's forgettable. So if I had to do my BrandoCritic rating for this, I would give it a 2 out of 5. I'm going to say this. This year broke me with the amount of forgettable streaming movies. And I know that movies on streaming services, generally speaking, haven't been the greatest, but I'm like, okay, well, if I'm having a YouTube channel, I should be reviewing, as many movies as I can. Again, this movie's not terrible. It's not awful. It's not making me cringe, but it's just like, there are so many better things I could have been doing with my time. And again, if you like this movie, then totally fine. I think there's going to be a lot of people who generally are not cinephiles who will like this movie because they're like, oh, Awkwafina and Sandra Oh, they're cute together, and it reminds me of my sister, and I like Will Ferrell, and, it's just like watchable fluff. But for people who say that they like this movie, this is what I think, honestly. Again, no disrespect, but it sounds to me like those people who would like this movie would just eat at Applebee's. They would eat at McDonald's and they'd say, oh, it's really, really good because it's just standard American food. I'm not trying to disrespect Americans, of course. I've been to Applebee's. I used to work at McDonald's. But if you only eat that, your palate is very, very small. Try the ethnic foods. Try the 5-star restaurant. And once you've had a taste of that, you're not going to be wanting to go back. You know what I mean? Once you see a movie that is just amazing, something that just changes your life, or even a comedy that just makes you roll on the floor with laughter, you just crave that. And that's, I think, the thing I'm trying to get at is that I'm craving personality from movies. And I don't think any of these streaming movies have any of it, because it's just made to simply fill the void of content, or just pack it in, even though like streaming services are just overflowing with content. And when I was in film school, I heard that term all the time. Content. I'm a content creator. But that's the thing. Content can be anything. Content can be just someone, filming themselves go to McDonald's and eat some chicken nuggets. There's no substance to it. And with these streaming movies, there's no substance to it. There's no substance to Quiz Lady. Yes, the heart is in the right place. It's a sister relationship. And, again, it's not terrible. And I feel like I'm just getting off the rails with this review. Again, I would rather have a movie just be absolutely awful and there's more to talk about than something that's just mediocre. This movie is mediocre. And yeah, that's it. So there you go, guys. That's my long-winded review of Quiz Lady. If you liked the movie, or if you have any thoughts about it, leave them down below in the comment section. I read every single comment, and if you are respectful, and if you have actually something of substance to say, then I will respond. I welcome it. And if you've watched this far, I genuinely say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So if you want to watch more videos just like this, then definitely hit like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. And if you want to join our monthly movie nights, then Patreon is down below in the description. Thank you guys so much and have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Take care.